Hello everyone, welcome to another live stream. We are going to cover Ezidxan versus Lotus Impact. Let's see if I can find them here on the sheet. I believe they're both in the losers bracket already. Here they are, 16th. So it's yesterday's game actually. Yeah, but it's not 8 o'clock yet on the 17th, so it's okay. So we're gonna cover this game right now. The opponent comes now, they're playing in Blitz. Okay, that's fine. I have to announce the stream. That is usually worth announcing. Starting now. Ezidxan versus Lotus Impact. Gonna hide Discord and stuff. Okay, so clean your desktop. We're waiting for Blitz match to finish from Lotus Impact. I'm still eating, so please, sorry about that, but it is what it is. I'm not a pro streamer, so fuck you guys. If you don't like me eating, go check another channel. Hey Michael, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Should have a game in a couple of minutes. Might be the only series I covered today. I had another stream scheduled for this afternoon for some demo scene stuff, not Vainglory. So we'll probably have to do that. If it ends early enough, I will try to cover a game in the nighttime as well of Vainglory. Otherwise, no other games for me today. I think they arrive now. Have Flourisho, Squashy, and Ferox. Change to the tournament. So this is Ezidxan on the left side on team A, and the Lotus Impact on team right. I wish I had time to. This is the losers bracket, yeah, Fire Rocket. Michael, I wish I had time to stream Tux, but I probably won't. If the game is like later 1 hour than usual, I might be able to stream it. So if you can pass that along to Bruto and the guys, that would be nice. Hey, Destroying Virus, welcome to the stream. Yeah. We were doing the first Portuguese tournament, and we were very excited that the Cavalafar was writing on our chat, because he was the only known Vainglory star from Portugal at the time. Now, Destroying Virus is the leading or the undefeated player. He's the undefeated player from the Portuguese Vainglory tournament. We did one Portuguese tournament, and the Destroying Virus was on the winning team. So this is pretty much similar. So hopefully the game will start soon. Have the draft underway. Still eating. Sorry, guys. Ban of Cruel on the blue team side. And I guess the red team is gonna ban Anka. Indeed. See what team Ezidxan will prioritize. They want to go for the Churn Walker, prioritizing that role position. Lorelei and Vox for the red team. Guess we have some fans of Lotus Impact in the house. Idris coming out on the side of Ezidxan. And they're gonna round up the composition, probably with a Cruel. They went for the Alpha instead. That's curious. I would go with the Rhyme if I was the red team right now. Rhyme would completely destroy this composition. They're considering the Petal, because they were expecting the Cruel, I believe. Oh, they heard me. They're going for the Rhyme. Oh, hey, Shaker Rule. Why do you have a different nickname on Vainglory and Twitch? It's confusing, man. Should have the same everywhere. Flourisho is gonna take up that Rhyme. Let's see what he can do with it. I love Rhyme on 3 versus 3. Which is the only place you can love a Rhyme, because on 5 versus 5 is pretty much useless.
The battle for the Halcyon Fold has begun.
The battle for the Halcyon Fold has begun. I'm still eating though. Still have a few more forks left, but I mean it's the early game. Nothing happens on the early game. It's so boring on the early game. Yeah, the strain virus. Your English is awesome. I guess we can follow Lorelei for a little bit. She's probably gonna rotate back down. Have a little skirmish for the middle treant. Seems that Churnwalker ended up getting with the treant. A little bit of a skirmish here. Vox going down very low. But this Alpha is about to go down reboot. Pops up the flask, stay alive, manages to clean up Vox. Fish food preventing him from killing Lorelei off. And now it's Rhyme one-on-one versus Churnwalker. I don't know why he's not going away. He wants to put the pressure on. He's gonna end up being 1 versus 2. Vox shows up now. Tries to finish off this Alpha. Forces her into reboot. But Lorelei can't give him much of an assistance. Rhyme does manage to finish off that Churnwalker, and this Alpha also seems to go down. Ends up being a 3-for-1 to the side of Lotus Impact. So I guess that little skirmish was worth it for Lotus Impact. Is everybody ready for the Update. So it should be in a few hours. I wonder what will happen to the tournament. I mean, if the update shows up while people are playing the games for the tournament, I can imagine you're in the middle of a series. You just played game 1, and the update shows up, and it won't let you play game 2. What do you do then? There's some food for thought. I wonder if the organizers thought about this. I think the update will probably be delayed, like it always is, and end up being just tomorrow instead of today. Lorelei putting down some vision on the enemy jungle. I'm almost done eating. I should be able to cast a little better afterwards. Lotus Impact getting this other middle tree ant. They seem to have a little bit of a lead so far. Bye, Alvaro. See you later. This Rhyme wants a piece of Alpha. Alpha doesn't stand a chance against Rhyme, usually one-on-one. He is not doing his empowerment, though. She forces Alpha into reboot, though. Vox is there to help him finish her off. Churnwalker wants a piece of this Lorelei, but the fish food keeps her safe, and now the Churn is forced to back off out of his own jungle. All of Ezidxan's jungle are belong to Lotus Impact right now. I'm gonna level this up a little bit better. Maybe a little bit higher. Perfect. Skirmish here. Idris keeping his tower safe. Fish food almost connecting there, but not quite. Now we will have a recall from Idris. So yeah, finally done eating. Does seem that the red team has been able to put down some pressure early game. So, which you should with the Rhyme. I mean, you have the advantage early game anyways. Well, with the Rhyme you have the advantage all through the game. Even late game, if you have a lot of items and defensive items on the Rhyme, you can do a ton of damage. And just stay forever in those team fights. So yeah, I really like the composition of Lotus Impact here. I think both the Rhyme and the Vox will be very useful late game. The blue team, I think it was a mistake to draft that Alpha. I think they should have gone for the Cruel. Cruel was still available. There was a counter to the Cruel also available, so they had to decide, pick their poison. That's the problem of being on the B side of the draft. Rhyme doing some sneaky plays there, trying to catch someone off. Lorelei cleaning up some vision. Will the Alpha fall for this? Yes, she will. Gets rooted up. Oh, it misses the empowerment though, but it's still enough to lower Alpha into reboot mode. Idris comes to help, but he's afraid to engage. He just wants to get away, and this Alpha will fall to the Rhyme. Very bad engage for the blue team there. They could have went 3 versus 1 versus the Cruel. Cruel was banned during the draft? Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. So, yeah, you're right. You're right. It was the Cruel ban and the Anka ban. You're totally right. My apologies. Yes, this is the losers bracket. Another draft. Another engage here. A little skirmish. Alpha still overextending, facing this Rhyme. You can't go one-on-one versus the Rhyme. Idris trying to punish this Vox. Manages to get him with the Chakra run, but going very low and dying as well. And Churnwalker also dead. Alpha overextending again. And she's gonna get caught. Yeah. If this Alpha would stop feeding the enemy, I think we might have a more competitive game here. Just saying. I know it's hard to play an Alpha against a Rhyme, but if you're just gonna give kills away, it's gonna be even harder. So, you know, wait for the late game do your items, get at least the Serpent's Mask online and something to do, maybe the Poison Shiv, to do some mortal wounds on that Rhyme. And then you might have a little bit of a chance. Idris forced to back off. This Churn is gonna get caught by the red team though, and it's another kill for the red team. They are 10 and 2 already in the game. 5 gold or 5k gold lead. Actually, it's closer to 4k gold lead. It's the first turret going down on the game. The red team with a very safe lead early on. Sirwan, you need to get your act together, man. Stop throwing. Stop giving those kills to the Cruel. Put some vision, buy some defense, buy better boots. Whatever you need to do, just don't give Cruel any more kills. Excuse me. We have another rotation here. Rhyme coming up from underneath. He's going to root that Alpha exactly where he wants her. Going for the re-engage. Vox is nowhere near, so unfortunately they can't really follow up. I don't know why the blue team is staying so close. They don't have the turret anymore. I think the red team could have played better there if Vox would have extended more. But they managed to get 2 kills in the end anyways. Alpha once again falling prey to this Cruel. And Idris still wants to keep the game going. Uses the ultimate to avoid that root and stun. He does get the ultimate from Ryan on his head, and this might be enough to kill him off. Indeed, it is. Very hard to deal against this Rhyme with this composition. Idris so squishy, and Alpha is just a sitting duck for the Rhyme to use his empowerment on. Cruel was banned. So if I missaid Cruel, I said it wrongly. This turret, oh, a nice turret hit, finishing off Lorelei there. And now Vox is in trouble, he's trying to run away. Idris should be able to get him, he usually has more speed. He does indeed, he wants a piece of this Rhyme as well. Tries to recall, and now we might have an interesting matchup. An Idris versus Rhyme. And the range gives Idris a certain advantage, and he does indeed manage to finish people off. Nice clean of house on the side of his Idris, and he's barely keeping Team Ezidxan in the game. Ten minutes in, still 5 more minutes to Kraken. Red team respecting a little bit more of the blue team here. I don't know what Sirwan is doing, if he got a disconnect or he's just sulking. I hope that was a disconnect. I mean, at least he's not giving kills to the red team. I guess that's a plus, but still would be nice if he would be farming a little bit. Yes, it's still 0-0, Mr. Fresher. This is the first game of the series. We might have a gold miner, indeed, for the red team, extending their lead to 6k now. Sirwan still disconnected, not able to come back into the game. Idris needs to be careful of his positioning here. Rhyme might do a rotation, catch him off guard. Alpha is back. The same time that the Crystal Sentry of the blue team has been killed off. Another gold lead, or not, another gold gain to increase the lead of the blue team. Churnwalker trying to get some chains on, but he doesn't really seem to be connecting. And I don't think the blue team wants this engage right now. Not with Alpha 2 levels behind all the members of... I mean, even the support of the red team has higher level than this Alpha. So we really need to wait for the late game for this Alpha to finally be online. And then they might have a little bit of a chance. But Idris doing a good job keeping this red team alive. Almost getting that Rhyme, but the fish fruit from Lorelei keeping him at bay. Churnwalker with the ultimate trying to lure Lorelei in, but Alpha is too far away from the skirmish to do any damage whatsoever. Now they finally join. Lorelei might go down. Fountain popped. Alpha going dangerously low. Idris continuing to put down the damage, but Rhyme just doesn't go lower. His health remains always the same. Even the currents from the churn are not enough to spread the damage among this red team. Alpha just not doing enough damage. I really hope this Alpha manages to reach late game so we have a more interesting game. Otherwise, so far it's been pretty one-sided. The red team completely dominating. And in 2 minutes time we will have a Kraken on the Halcyon Fold, which might seal the deal for the red team. It's not 2-0 yet, but it's starting to look like a 1-0 at least. Alpha trying to get some farm in her. Don't do a team fight, please, blue team. Let Idris poke and stay away. Like, just the resonance bounces from Vox are enough to put this Alpha in a third of her energy. Now another disconnect, I think, coming out from Alpha. Red team will take the opportunity to clear up this Crystal Sentry. Will they respect the disconnect from Alpha? It seems they will. Nice sportsmanship there. Alpha finally back. Yeah, if Alpha was having trouble by feeding the Rhyme, if she's having connectivity issues, this is even worse. Yeah, Idris needs to get a hyper farm. I have to agree. It's their only chance is getting Idris as a hyper carry, and that Alpha, I don't know what her job can be. I mean, I guess she can buy Rook's Decree and give a little bit of defense help to Idris or something like that. Right now she's just a sitting duck, and even worse with the disconnects. Red team will keep farming though. Idris still pushes for this connection. He's going dangerously low, and that's another kill for the red team. You know, 2 versus 3, that's not an engage that you would like. But if Sirwan is having connectivity issues, there's not much the blue team can do. The Kraken has awakened. I don't think the red team even needed to finish the game at this point. They're just going at it. Both turrets have shield, but both of them are down. Idris comes trying to kill off this Vox. Will he succeed? The Chakra is flying back and forth, but no, unfortunately, Rhyme hits him with his ultimate, and this should be GG. I mean, Alpha is just disconnected, so nothing she can do at all. I guess they already surrendered from the side of the blue team. That's why they're not pursuing this endgame. So congratulations to Lotus Impact, and I hope that Sirwan manages to fix his connectivity issues. Otherwise this series is pretty much over. Let's wait to get invited back into the party. Maybe Sirwan is already updating the game. Maybe that's what happened. Nope. Serban is still online though. We should be able to recreate the party for game 2. I can't play right now, real. I'm in the middle of a live stream. And Sirwan disappeared again, so I guess we have to wait for him to reconnect or something. Let's wait a few minutes, see if we have a game 2 or not. See if Serwan is back. Flourishow is doing the party now. Serwan was back online now. I go. I was thinking it was going away. Apparently he is going. Oh, okay, so they're going to replace. Okay. Let's see who they have to replace Serwan. Let's give him a couple of minutes to sort things out for the game 2. Right now it's 1-0 in the favor of Lotus Impact, if you just tuned in. Puta, puta, puta. I'm just trolling with Squashy. Random Spanish sentences. Apparently it's Sensnom that's gonna show up. Estamos pistols. Uy, qué guapo. Okay, let's wait, give the flow show a couple of seconds to invite Sansomnom. Sannom, which means without name. Españolitos, tío. Uy, qué guapo. Have to wait a little bit more for the second game. Apparently he hasn't accepted the friend request yet. Sorry about the delay, guys. We did lose a bit of viewers thanks to it, but it is what it is. Apparently he has accepted it. There we go. Sunnom is here now. Ready for game 2. Let's go. Serwan shouldn't be in spectator. I think they have an advantage if he is. Yeah, he just got removed. Let's go. Game 2. Ezidxan versus Lotus Impact. Now Lotus Impact on the blue side. They have 1-0 win so far. They're banning Vox. Let's see what ends up being available for the first pick. If it's Cruel or if it's Anka. Apparently it's not going to be Anka, but they decide to go for the Churnwalker instead. So they're giving Cruel to the red team if they want him. I guess they are prepared to do an anti-cruel composition here. And red team does go indeed for the cruel. A Lorelei to round things up on the red team, and we have a disconnect. Yeah, everyone keeps doing this. It's always the pick a skin button that is on the wrong place on the 3 versus 3 draft. This is usability 101, guys. A lesson that SEMC hasn't quite learned just yet. Should keep the same interface elements on always the same positions. That means if you have an interface with an OK and a cancel, you should always have the OK on one side and always the cancel on the other side. So don't choose a skin on one of the interfaces and then exit match on another one. You're gonna end up with issues like this. Anyways, the blue team is going for a Malign Churnwalker Lance pick. We have seen a similar combination before for a hyper carry team fights. And the red team is going for a more conservative Idris, Cruel, and Lorelei with 2 carries, a jungler and a lane position carry. I'm guessing that Idris is going Crystal again. Archaix was playing a good CP Crystal, so should be able to do good enough damage. Let's see if the team of Lotus Impact will be able to hyper carry defense this Malign, who should hopefully be doing a lot of damage. Well, I'm assuming that that Lance is gonna do some defensive items and not go full weapon. I guess he could do full weapon or a mixed build of some weapon and some crystal. Good luck, have fun. And here we are again on the Halcyon Fold for game 2 of this series. Reminder that Lotus Impact won the first game, so it's 1-0. And this is the losers bracket, so whoever loses this series will no longer be playing on this tournament. Flourish trying to do early lane farming to push this advantage. A little bit of a skirmish for the middle tree end here. Chained by Churn is put on it. Cruel wants to contest it. He's forced to back away to lose the chain first. Will they be diving, trying to get this middle tree end? Yes, they are. Churnwalker wants to lose the aggro. Who got that? I believe it was Lance that got the middle tree end. Churn going dangerously low. No, actually it was Churn that got the... No, it wasn't. Why was he flashing green though? Then why was he flashing green if he didn't get it? Maybe he popped the flask? I guess that was it. Lance and Lorelei... Lance and Churn will now rotate down and get that those back camps. See if Churn manages to contest any of them. He probably shouldn't be able to do it. Yeah, he fails. He had a little bit of a chance, but not quite enough. So now the blue team, the side of Lotus Impact, have a nice advantage early on. The chain pull forces Lance to miss that impale, so Churn can go scot-free. They still want to try to contest some more of their own jungle. End up giving hits on Churn instead of the potatoes. Churnwalker ends up with the potato. See who gets the middle tree end. Churn getting dangerously low, but Cruel was also rooted. Churn ends up dying, sponsored by your favorite Cruel. And he even gets the healing tree end, so now Lance is in a bit of a trouble. He uses the impale to get away, but misses. Flourisher rotates down to try and help his team, but can't really do anything. He's forced to use his B to run away, and now everything is on cooldown. He does the long rotation into the enemy jungle to avoid getting ganked. And somehow manages to stay alive. Actually, that's his own jungle. The red team's jungle is the other side. Cruel recalling back home. Malene and Lance farming together to hyper carry that Malene a little more. I have a phone call that I cannot take because I'm in the middle of something. This Churnwalker going dangerously low. Lance rotating back up into the jungle. And blue team just waiting for someone to overstep here. Not quite getting. Lance trying to get this healing tree end from the other side of the wall. Nothing much happening early in this game, so I'm answering some messages. Now we have an engage here. Ultimate from Cruel ends up hitting Malene, but he decides to follow up against Lance and not Malene. Ultimate of Idris flying across Malene, not quite finishing her off. The chakra misses. A fountain popped by the Churnwalker. An impale from Lance misses that Idris, but they end up getting him in the end anyways, and Cruel is forced to run away. Finally, we're starting to have some action here. Chain onto Lorelei. I guess we can take a look at builds while nothing is really happening. Malene going for the Aftershock first. No defense whatsoever. A lot of crystal bits though. Lance going for that spell sword. Not doing any defense items. So not really the hyper carry build we were expecting. But it might still show up later. Cruel hasn't even finished his breaking point yet. Curiously enough, it's 6 minutes in. And Idris not quite able to finish his... alternating current either. Finally, breaking point showed up. Both captains already have the fountain though. They should be ready for some skirmishes. Malene buying the Spellfire now, which will start doing a ton of damage, especially against that Cruel, who needs the mortal wounds to learn to stay away. Some vision there to clean up that camera. Both teams just zoning each other out. Waiting for the best engage. 7 minutes in. 8 more minutes until we have the Kraken available. Lorelei putting some pressure on this turret while the blue team tries to go for the gold miner. So they're trading a gold miner for a turret. I guess it's okay because they say that the gold miners don't last forever, while the turrets will always be there. But in this case, he lost the turret, so I don't know if that was a good trade. This Cruel wants to see if he can catch someone off guard. Lance with a double impale. Nice. Now stun against the wall. This Cruel already sliver of health. Lance gets stunned up with a fish food. Cruel wants to dive back in. He goes for this Lance, but not really able to connect. Gets slammed back away. Churn with a triple chain. A nice stun. Lance ends up dying. I don't know how the hell Idris did that damage while he was stunned, but okay. And Malene getting the return kill against Cruel. And now trying to respect a little bit more. Actually overextending a little bit now against the Idris. Let's check out the lane action. This Cruel might be able to finish stuff off. Will Malene die? No, she manages to get away. So nice disengage from the side of the blue team. Pressure on this turret here. Trying to play in this turret. Ooh, that would be a nice impale, but well, we do have a crucible available. Actually, that was a reflex block, not even a crucible. Nice stun from Malene, trying to clean up this Cruel. The ultimate from Cruel flying over her while she was in her shadow form. Idris wants to finish up this Malene, doing a ton of damage, but Flourish Show seems to be quite tanky, or with a good defensive itemization from their captain. It does end up dying now, facing this Cruel. Lance pushing people back, a chain missing there. The red team wants to claim some part of this jungle. Trying to push their little advantage from killing off Malene there. Idris pushing the lane. Cruel pushing the jungle. So the game seems a bit more even now. I don't know what happened to the gold advantage from the blue team. They were quite in the lead, and now suddenly they are only 4 kills to 5, and the red team has the upper hand. Well, I mean, they're still behind on gold, but they seem to be winning these team fights. Cruel flying out the ultimate, trying to hit someone. Malene dodges it with the shadow form. Cruel going dangerously low. Can the team focus on him? A nice impale from Lance. Will be able to push them back. Yes, he will. But Idris went forward. He's focusing that Malene, going dangerously low. She does indeed die. And now it's 3 versus 2. And Churn can't really do anything. And he's left to die by Lance. Lance not really doing enough damage to kill people off. I mean, he puts them dangerously low, but somehow maybe he can get this Cruel. Cruel with the empowerment. Oh, nice impale finishes him off, but now he's at the mercy of Lorelei and of the Lorelei slow, and the hits from Idris. Overextends there with an impale. He was trying to guess where Idris was going. Guessed wrongly and paid for his sins. This will be a gold miner going to the side of the red team. No, actually they decide to back off. They're both somehow low, and they were afraid of Flourisho with this Malene. Will they try to re-engage the gold miner now, or just leave it for the blue team? Chakram flying out, and they do get the gold miner in the end. So nice recovery from the red team here. We seem to have a game again. Both teams with the same level of gold, but we clearly see that the advantage in turn fights has been going to the side of the red team. So I don't know what the blue team needs to do. Lotus Impact needs to pull something out of their asses to start dealing more damage or to focus better their targets and start winning these team fights. Maybe catching this Lorelei out of position would be a good start, but they focus on the wave instead. Cruel stalking for better positioning to get an engage on someone. Smeline is very slowly pushing this wave. She's not the best of heroes to clear waves. She's full attack, no defense whatsoever. That might be a little bit of a mistake in my opinion. She should have at least a slumbering husk or something. She has been dodging the ultimate from Cruel, but Idris is the one who has been punishing her the most. Nice chakra flying around. Lance punishing him with a few tips of the spear. That's not a technical term. Both teams now in dear need of vision to find the best engages. Idris clearing another wave, and the Kraken is about to spawn on the Halcyon Fold. So I hope these teams are finishing up their builds and then getting those what's it called? Buff potions? Damn, what's the name of the infusions? That's what it's called, infusions. Getting their infusions on. Only Malene has one so far, so that's not very promising. See if the red team can still get it. Cruel just bought one. Here we go, another engage. The ultimate flying down ends up hitting a Lance. He's stunned up for quite a few seconds. Flourish getting dangerously low. He's forced to back away. Lance helping with the retreat. Churn is still in the thick of things, and no one from the blue team seems to be following up. Idris now dives, trying to killing off Flourish, but he ends up dying in the process, and now Cruel is in a bad position. Fountain being popped, trying to save him. An Impale keeps him in place and near range of Malene to finish up this team fight. A bit of a lucky engage from the blue team, but enough to get him this win for the Kraken. Lance wants to pursue this Lorelei. He might be biting more than he can chew with the Crystal Sentry, punishing him for his advances. But Lorelei is still alive, trying desperately. They need that ace. They do get him in the end. Churn was left alone doing this Kraken. But all is fine. They do get the Kraken in the end. The ace and the Kraken. The ace helps a little bit pushing those lanes with the buff of the minions. They did some damage to that turret. Idris is now pushing those minions back. He wants to recall to shop. He might not have time to do so. He has to defend against this Kraken. Look at the damage from Malene. Just taking a shit ton of damage out of Idris, forcing a callback. And now Cruel is alone against the Kraken and 3 members of Lotus Impact. I think he might overextend here if he's not careful. He tries to go back, doesn't want to get impaled by that lance. And now tries to engage. He might get thrown into the wall. He manages to barely dodge it. Idris getting to work into this Kraken, gets stunned up and rooted by the Malene. The ultimate from Cruel flying, but gets crucibled away. Impale missing from Lance. Cruel wants to keep those stacks going against the Churn. Lorelei getting dangerously low. Good double man Impale there. Both teams dangerously low. Flourish is the only one who's still stacked, but now he's starting to go low. This Crystal Sentry punishing him. Nice route onto Idris, almost dying. Mortal wound, the Fountain gets popped. Keep Idris alive. And I think blue team should back the hell up very fast. Still want this camp, but they should recall if I were them. Very close match so far. Blue team only 3k gold in the lead. Same kills, 8-8. Very close team fights. Very exciting game. On this second game of the series, recall that Lotus Impact, the blue team, won the first game, 1-0. So the red team needs to win this game to stay in the competition. They got a few good engages early on, but now they are struggling a little bit to go up against the damage that this Malign is bringing into the Idris. I don't know if Idris shouldn't be considering putting some defense. He already has a Slumbering Husk. I don't know if he bought it now or if he already had it. He also bought the Poison Shiv. I don't think it is enough to trigger the weapon path. He probably needs a weapon infusion to trigger it, but it does give those mortal wounds. I would think that if you're only buying it for the mortal wounds, you should have bought a Spellfire instead, but that's my humble opinion. Although it does help with the speed as well of the hits. Here comes the ultimate from Cruel, but he gets slammed back against the wall, or against the hole in the wall by a lance. The engage carries on though. Lorelei dangerously low, Fishfood rooting up the Churnwalker. Idris avoiding the Churnwalker ultimate. Here comes Churn, wants to finish off this Churn. Cruel finishing up the Churn. Malign is forced to run for her sins. Lance manages to finish Lorelei off, and Idris just disappears out of nowhere. What the hell happened to Idris there? A burst of damage from both the Lance and the Malign. Malign is overextending a little bit. She thought she could kill the Cruel. She could not. And now we have a free Kraken at the mercy of this Cruel on the side of the red team. Good opportunity for the red team to clear up a few more of these turrets. Kraken is unleashed. Let's go with a Kraken push. Cruel a bit overextended there. They're only 2 versus 3. They should be very careful, especially to avoid getting rooted by that Malign. Cruel wanting to increase his stacks. He's using Churnwalker for that. Lance takes the opportunity to do a double impale. The blue team needs to be very careful, especially that Churn is so low. Cruel looking for something he can get his hands on. Double fish food there. Cruel going for the healing tree ant first, trying to increase. A nice impale onto Idris. The Cruel ultimate flying and missing. Here comes Cruel though. His mortal wound immediately is forced to back off. Choke point turret is dead. The Churnwalker is dead. And this Kraken still has 1/3 of her life yet. Nice root by Malign. She's going dangerously low though. She needs to be very careful here. Gets stunned up by the fish food. As she's still alive. How the hell is she still alive? But Idris manages to finish him off. Ends up dying though. And now it's 2 and the Kraken versus 1 turret and the Lance. Can the Lance do enough damage to kill this Cruel off? Misses the impale. The Kraken should be able to die, but will the Cruel be able to finish off this crystal? Gets stunned against the Vein Crystal. The reflex block ends up helping him. And we are going to a game 3 on the Halcyon Fold on this match. Very close match between both teams. And it seems we will have a third game. Lotus Impact 1 and Ezidxan 1. We're back already on the draft. Not the usual bans we see. The Lorelei getting banned and the Anka on the red side. Well, I was thinking that Lotus Impact was going for a hyper carry there, but they ended up having damage on Lance and not really doing the hyper carry build that you would expect from those picks. I mean, Lance is good with weapon, but is he good enough to stand on his own against the Cruel? He can push the Cruel back, but he doesn't really do enough damage to kill him off. So I think that's where their error came from. They should have focused on being a hyper carry team and not a double damage dealing team.
Swap heroes.
The draft ends up finishing. Sorry guys, I was answering some other stuff here. Meanwhile, using this draft opportunity. The draft for the blue team is Idris, Cruel, and the Churnwalker. On the red team, we will have a Baptiste, curiously enough, a Lance, and a Vox. Ooh, interesting composition here. I don't know how well Baptiste will help with the disengage. I guess either Baptiste will be the captain or Lance will be the captain. I would personally go for Baptiste, but that's me that likes to play Captain Baptiste on 3 vs 3. It does seem that Baptiste bought some shards early on though, so he's probably gonna be the jungler, and Squashy going to take on the roamer role with this Lance. I don't see how they will be able to push this Cruel back though. They only have, well, they have the disengage from Baptiste and they have the stuns from Lance, but is that enough to stop a Cruel? That's the real question you should be asking yourself. We already have a little competition here for the middle treant. Seems that the blue team got it in the end. So nice early advantage for the blue team. Idris needs to be careful not to overextend. Okay, I should be done with all the typing. Sorry for that, guys. But, no, early game. Who cares? There's nothing happening on early game 3 vs 3. There's a root coming! That's all the excitement we had so far. Cruel wanting to steal some back camps right here, but I don't think he got it. It does seem that both teams are pretty even right now. Both of them in 5k gold. 2 minutes in. Third man rotation wants to put down some pressure on this lane. I do love the party hat on that Vox. It's looking very swanky. Does the Cruel have a party hat as well? No, he doesn't. Only Vox has a party hat. Flourish-o is rich. He has party hats. Oh, Squashy also has a party hat. Cruel is gonna get this middle treant as well. I don't think Baptiste will rotate in time, or will he? Slowly making his way, decides to go for his healing treant instead of the middle treant. Will we have a competition for the treant here? Seems that Cruel got it in the end. So another small advantage for the blue team. Chakra flying out. Double chains on this Churnwalker. So who do you guys think is gonna win? People from the chat, give me your predictions based on this draft. Who do you think has the upper hand right now? I would say the blue team has the upper hand actually, mostly because they have the Cruel. But Vox is very OP on 3 versus 3 as well, so it's hard to say. Cruel using the boots to get away. 3-man rotation here, trying to catch him off guard. They are going to settle for stealing these little potatoes. Baptiste wants to steal this healing treant as well, but fails. Back to farming as usual. Very peaceful start of this third game on the series. Lotus Impact 1, Ezidxan 1. Whoever wins this match will carry on the tournament. At least one more game or one more series. They are already on the losers bracket. We might have a little bit of an engage here. Cruel checking out the scenery. Baptiste punishing him. But Cruel doesn't want to dive. So both teams finishing up their rotations. Back up to middle. Cruel is trying to do a sneaky rotation from the backside, but they give up on that idea. Three versus 3 is the best. Except that it's broken because they focused all the hero meta on the 5 versus 5. Here comes the ultimate of Cruel, ends up hitting Vox by a little miracle there. The disconnect from Baptiste not quite enough to keep Cruel at bay, and that's first blood from the side of the blue team, and they could even focus down and steal some more back camp jungles from this red team, but they don't dare. They don't want to pursue it too much. Idris punishing this Lance a lot for defending his turret. Nice impale there. Here comes the Cruel, looking for another kill. He might get this Baptiste off guard. He does go into the Baptiste. Idris helping him out. Baptiste dangerously low. The fountain gets popped, trying to keep him alive. Not enough. The stun from Lance pushing the enemies back, but this turret is in a bad position. Vox getting swarmed down by this Cruel, doing so much damage. And Lance, how the hell did that Lance stay alive? Now the ultimate of Cruel finishing him off. Blue team dangerously low, but they do have minion candy, so they should be able to easily take out this turret. But here comes Baptiste. He might have... Well, he uses the B instead of the disengage. Or the disengage was still in cooldown. But nice early game advantage from the side of the blue team. And suddenly Lotus Impact in a bit of a trouble. They won the first game, and now they are suffering in the hands of this Cruel. I mean, it's their own fault. They let Cruel pass on the draft. I guess it was either Cruel or Anka they would have to let pass, but they could have done a composition specifically thinking of dealing with this Cruel. Actually, no, they let Cruel pass. The first pick on the blue team side was Churnwalker, I believe. Wasn't it? I don't know. I don't remember anymore the draft. I have no recollection of the draft whatsoever. Nice stun there from Lance. They are 2 versus 3. They should probably back off. Cruel is now coming up. So nice ultimate from a churn, stunning people up. The disengage comes from Baptiste, not enough to keep that Vox alive. And now the ultimate from Cruel also doing some damage. Fountain gets popped from the Churn Walker to keep this Idris healthy, but he's forced to go back. He's gonna clear up some vision there. And Cruel started working on this gold miner. The rest of his team is gonna rotate down, help him finishing quickly. Will Lance try to contest this? He's a little worried of doing that face check on that bush, and they end up losing the gold miner. A 3k gold advantage for the side of the blue team. Ezidxan looking very dominant early game on this match. Lance finally getting a crucible. He might be helping a little bit their teammates against the ultimate from either Churnwalker or Cruel. The ultimate from Churn can be a bit hard to predict. His animation is not... You can't really tell very easily that he's about to launch the ultimate. Once you see that mist floating around, it's usually already too late to have time to press the crucible button. Lance wants to roll into action. Here comes another engage. Nice chains from Churn. Double chains, nice stun. Here comes the ultimate from Cruel. Indeed, was not blocked in time. Vox ends up rushing around the bush, uses his dash to get away. Nice disengage there. Crucible coming a second too late. Both teams in the low health. Vox is dangerously low. He might end up dying to this Churnwalker. Indeed, he does. And here comes Cruel to finish off the Lance. And now Baptiste in a heap of trouble. Idris uses his ultimate on his own teammate to get himself advanced. Ends up getting killed by the turret in the process, but gets the ace for his team. So that is gonna mean probably 2 turrets, or 1 turret for sure. Vox is already up. He might be able to contest that choke point turret. Cruel will be able to take that little healing tree ant at least. Going the long way around. Crystal Sentry, that... What roll was that? Squashy, what was that? What were you rolling around? Rolling around the tree? The red team needs to be careful, needs to wait for the late game. A disengage coming through, but the Lance is overextending. Here comes the Cruel. Beware of the Cruel. Blue team playing very well so far on this matchup. Haven't done any mistakes so far. They're gonna get another gold miner, increasing their lead from 5k to 5k and a half. Or 4k and a half. Red team are relegated to their own jungle. They need to be very careful. Wait for the late game. The problem with this build is that apparently Lance is not being tanky enough to being able to deal with this Cruel. He doesn't have the Atlas Pauldron on his kit yet either, so he can't really slow down this Cruel roll. Impale missing there. Gets punished by Idris. It also seems that the red team are doing double crystal. Both Vox and Baptiste are crystal, so they're very easy to itemize against. Ultimate from Cruel flying around. The Crucible doesn't show up. Flourish popping his slice to stay alive. Will he have enough damage to get this Cruel? Lance also focusing on him, but a bit too late. Cruel already finished the Vox, and now it's 3 versus 2. With the chains on Lance, he has some difficulty being able to exit this team fight. Just drags the team fight onto Baptiste, who also dies. And this is also a Crystal Tree Ant. And now this... now it's rolling time for this Lance. He needs to roll around these walls to avoid getting killed. He does indeed the roll as predicted. Are probably going to impale the other way around. Can he recall back home? Nice dodges from Squashy. Yes, Stefano, this is EU region indeed. A red team in a very bad position. They are one game away from losing this series and losing their access in the tournament. The series is currently tied 1-1, but the blue team seems to have a little bit of a lead here. 6k about to get increased if they manage to secure this gold miner. The silence from the Vox coming through, not doing enough damage to hit the gold miner. Also the ultimate from Baptiste missing, so they end up not getting that gold miner stolen. Idris getting himself slumbering husk, so it's gonna be even harder to kill now. A nice B onto Cruel, preventing that engage. Vox calling back home. I guess he needs to do some shopping. Finishes his broken myth, gets himself a little bit of an infusion. Nice stun onto Baptiste there, and he's just dead. They need to stop to find a way to deal with these stuns. They are coming from the side of the blue team. Either the ultimate from Cruel or the ultimate from Churn. They're always connecting. Another stun, double stun coming up. Idris takes the opportunity to use his ultimate jump onto the Vox and kill him off. And this Lance is also dead. He's tanky, but not tanky enough to last the whole team fight. It's gonna be the choke point turret. Baptiste wants to disengage this team fight. He might be getting a bit caught up. Yeah, it does indeed. The chains from Churnwalker punishing him. And I think Cruel is even started on the Cruel already. On the Kraken. This is gonna be a Kraken. This might be game with this push. Both Samnom and Archaics putting down the hurt onto the Kraken. They want to recruit her to try to finish this game. Only 2 turrets remaining on the side of Lotus Impact. They're gonna recall back home. Vox is cleaning up this lane, preparing to defend against the Kraken. Idris got himself an infusion as well. So this is gonna be a very decisive engage. Cruel overextending. It's a little bit of a hurt from Vox there, but nothing overwhelming. Churn trying to put those chains on. They should really wait for the Kraken though. The chain onto Vox. Here comes the ultimate from Cruel. Lands on Vox. Vox dangerously. No, he needs to go for that, but he manages to end up killing Cruel. That might be a great disengage if Lance manages to also get away. Now it's 3 versus 2. If they manage to focus down this Idris, they manage to impale him, but the team doesn't want to follow up. And now they're suddenly low on energy. This Vox end up dying, and the Baptiste just not doing enough damage to deal with this Idris. Someone kill this Idris, please. He ends up killing Lance instead. Now disengage comes off from Baptiste, but why are you you should be focusing the Kraken. He's giving the free kill, and that's the game. That was a bit of a throw from that Baptiste there. Firex not having the best game of his life on this game. And sadly for Lotus Impact, this is the 3rd game of the series. So it ends up 2-1 for the side of Team Ezidxan. And that's the series. Good game, well fought. Unfortunately, that was not enough. So Ezidxan is moving up, and they are going to face whoever wins between Monster Crabs and Alpha Cure team up on the other side of the series. Very interesting matchup. Hope you guys enjoyed this gameplay as we keep covering this tournament. I don't know if I will be able to cover any more games today. Maybe later, if it's a later game than the usual 8 o'clock. I should be able to cover it. Otherwise, I might not. Let's find someone to raid though. Let's see if anyone is playing in Vainglory right now. Let's see. Who can we raid with our 22 viewers? Let's Let's see. There's the Iron Sheik. There is me, and there is Trongluyu, Emran VG. I guess we are rating Iron Sheik. I don't know who she is, but you know, it's a girl playing Vanguard, so a lot of followers as usual. I guess we are rating Iron Sheik. I don't know who she is. You might be hearing echo. That's normal because I forgot to mute the stream. Okay, let's raid Iron Sheik. Say hello to her for me, guys. And that's it from the stream for today. Thank you guys for watching. See you on the next live stream. Bye bye everyone. Take care.